I am Kered Clement, a third-generation Grenadian, born and raised in the UK. To truly know me is to know my mother and where she came from and how she was raised. In this home, my mother was raised by her grandmother, Catherine Ventor-Peer, known as Dee Dee in the village of Birchgrove. Dee Dee was a kind and audacious woman who lived to see 104. I remember the day I came across a film about the revolution in Grenada. There she was, age 73, stating that she joined the revolution because she was trying to protect her grandchildren. She wasn't afraid to stand up for what she believed in and speak passionately about the change she wanted to see for her family, but also in her community. That's how she raised my mother, and that's how my mother raised me. I'll never forget the night she told me, "Great-grandchild, don't let anyone put you under the table and stand on top of it." This is how I live my life, confidently pulling up my seat at the table. I like the proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child." It becomes more important when you accept that not every woman is capable of being a mother, but that there can be many, many mother figures and mentors. I believe in the power of women supporting and guiding other women so we can be raw and real about the Caribbean woman's experience. In this video, over a cup of cocoa tea with Yvette-Noel-Schure, we discuss how her upbringing shaped the woman she is today.
I look back and try to remember. I recall a Saturday night. I still smell the cocoa aroma. Mommy cooking something inside, yeah. The adult are washing yellow. The candlelight all around you. Big sis and me in the sun. Story time on the stone. Almost time to go inside.
The spice, which, cinnamon sticks, but my grandmother called it spice. And a lot of love, it's done with love. My grandmother wasn't so much a big coffee drinker, so she loved her cocoa tea. And cocoa tea was just part of my upbringing. Happy days, sad days, 3-day praise after someone dies, you have to have your salt fish and your bakes, and the end of the praise ended with cocoa tea. But more importantly for me, and I don't know if I knew that then, but growing up, we had bananas, cocoa, and nutmeg in our lands. People say garden, but land. And my grandfather used to say, if you want to eat in this house, you need to learn how the food comes into this house. Yeah. So I know the cocoa journey, to go to the mountain and pick the cocoa, crack the cocoa open, take the cocoa seeds, put them out on sort of like a galvanized sheet out there for them to dry, and then you have to roast them. Then my grandmother would sit and teach us, after it's grind, and they add maybe just a little water to it and make like a paste, and then just to roll it in her hand, the smell of that, and then you put it out and it dries. And when it dries, like what I put in here is, we would have cocoa balls ready to go for weeks and weeks and weeks, because she would dry them and put them, and then just going and finding the spice, the cinnamon, and putting the bay leaves and stuff. It was such a ritual, and we really took it serious. Like, why my brother Trevor, why is this his turn to make cocoa tea? I want to make the cocoa tea. Everybody, because it was time with mama. I think cocoa tea is a big deal in Grenada. The Grenada breakfast is not complete without the cocoa tea. But I think the people in Birchgrove take it to a next level.
I think so.
They take it to a next level, and I think it's because so much cocoa is grown in Birch Grove. So there's a pride that comes with taking it from your land into the downstairs of your house, seeing it dry, smelling it, and then serving it to your family. Taking the time to make it a family ritual and then sitting down and enjoying it.
And actually you say that because all the way in the UK, with my upbringing, I bonded with my grandmother over cocoa tea.
Yeah.
She'd make it for Christmas with coconut bakes and ham.
Oh yes.
And that's where I learned about Grenada and where I fell in love with Grenada because she would tell me stories and broke up.
It's probably what drew you to come back here.
I think so.
Oh, look how good this is.
Good.
Oh, how I wish people could smell it.
Yes.
You know, because cocoa has become such a thing even in spa treatments. It's the same cocoa that you use to scrub your skin, to do facials. It has so many uses, but the best use is as cocoa tea.
You teaching me what to sing, and my boy out on the strings. Mommy said to come inside for some cocoa tea.
Meet Yvette-Noel-Schure, a proud Grenadian, also hailing from the village of Birchgrove. When I was growing up admiring women like Beyonce on TV, I had no idea that a Grenadian woman from my mother's village was behind the representation of some of the most influential people in the music industry. Yvette and my mother have a very similar upbringing, and she reminds me so much of my mum. To know Yvette is to know the beauty of expressing love through words and actions every single day. It's the reason why she's a mother figure to many people and someone I am proud to call a mentor.
The way you love and show love is so powerful. So I want to know about a time, when you first learned about the importance of love during your upbringing.
I think learning about love for me was not somebody saying, I love you. It was about action. I think it was one day I got up really early and saw my grandmother prepare the house, prepare her heart, prepare everything for us to have a good day. It starts with waking us up for breakfast, putting out our school clothes, and then next to the school clothes, the play clothes was already there for when we came back. The extra care, praying for us as we walked out the door.
Yeah.
Her prayer was literally a song, Blessed Assurance, every day. Every day, she stood in the veranda and she sang that, and she just rocked as we left on Johnny's bus, Mr. Johnny's bus. And then coming back, and she's standing there, she had a flower garden. She'd pick flowers, just kind of stick it in our hair, walk us up, wash your hands. Then we go and put on our school clothes. And you always knew she was watching over you from the veranda. We were playing marble or round doves or something. Yeah, so it was, I knew very early that love was an action word. Yeah. I knew very early that we had a little extra love. Mm-hmm. And I talk about it very openly that my mom was sick, mentally ill. And I think that extra love and protection and care came from her parents and her sisters and her brothers, her cousins, because they knew we would be missing out on a wonderful mom.
You're always referred to as the mother of all mothers, or that you have so many children.
Oh, I have a lot of bonus children. I only gave birth to 3, but I've got probably about 25 now. Yeah.
And how did that come to be? Is it because of, maybe what you felt like you didn't experience during those early years from your mother, or is that
probably? It's a combination of so many things. So Papa was a Rolling Stone was really my dad, right? So my dad had all these little affairs and whatever. But it ended up in an incredible amount of brothers and sisters, right? And so I think in a way they were my first loves outside of the house where I was growing up with my brothers and sisters that came through my mom and my dad. And when I started loving on particularly my sister who lives here.
It's okay.
That was real love. Because I looked a little different from everybody in my house, but when I saw my little sister in Grenville, I saw my face, I saw my nose. And I think in a way, without telling her, she became like my first kind of bonus child, you know, because I used to look forward to going into Grenville to see her.
Yeah.
Naturally, as I went into my career, I was assigned so many young people with these dreams that they didn't know what to do with. And just the mother in me came out, whether it was a hug or just a stern kind of, you know, like sort of like a strong love, you know. You know.
And I can reflect on that. You're so easy to talk to. And I think without realizing it, you just give the gems. You drop the gems that we, at a particular stage in our life as young people, just need to hear without even asking.
But do you know why? Do you know how you drop gems? You drop gems if you picked up gems, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like the people in Birch Grove, my grandmother, my grandfather, aunts and uncles, and just the village itself, they drop so many gems. So I have a whole basket of gems to pick up from. So it's kind of easy.
Where did you get your audacity from? You know, to enter that world, be in that world, and exist in that space.
I'm gonna try not to cry. I think that I became who I am because my mother wasn't. And I knew what her potential was. I knew what she could be. I knew she could be the woman who smiled all the time, danced all the time, was loud, and just was fearless. What would I say to teenage Yvette? I would say that it gets better. I would say that your sensitivity will one day be described as empathy. I would say that your sensitivity is your strength. It's not a weakness. I would say to her to show love and to easily have tears. It's not a weakness. And I would say to her that your little flat nose is actually beautiful. And don't let anybody tell you that you're not. And I would say to her that don't judge your mom. One day get the strength to help her and to help others like her. And to be an advocate for those who are not seeing their way. You know, and I'm gonna also say to little Yvette, you know that mouth that you can't shut up? One day somebody's gonna pay you to talk.
So Yvette, you have shared so many amazing pieces of advice with me. So I want to ask you to share advice for other young women, young Grenadian women or Caribbean women watching this interview.
I just want to tell pretty much every young girl across the Caribbean, and particularly in Grenada, that there is room for you. There is space for you in this world. We still are operating on colonized values of staying in your place. And I think beyond the carnival celebration, we still want to be this prim and proper. There's no place for prim and proper when you're trying to like get someplace in the world. You have to be respectful, but we have to be bold every single day, not just sometimes. Because your boldness is what's first of all going to get you in the room, what's going to get your CV ahead of everybody. You know, everybody's CV's on white paper. Put yours on pink.
Right, and get you that visibility.
Get that visibility. Embrace being different. And most of all, please hold on to your accent. The first week you're in America, please don't get an American accent. It's okay. Everywhere you're from comes out in your speech, and you should celebrate it.
It makes you unique.
It makes you who you are.
I love that.
To Cocoa Tea.
Cocoa tea. Looking at you in wonder. You make me happy with ease, yeah. Sweet sound. said to come inside for some cocoa.